Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Iflight Protek25 cinematic drone. This is the box that it comes in, and it says creating amazing FPV experiences on it. There's a label on the side here. It says it's the Protek25 HD edition, so this is to work with the DJI HD digital system, but they do an analog version as well, which is much cheaper. The HD version that I've got here is about 214 GBP, so quite expensive. And this is the bind and fly version with the Cadex Vista, so this will bind directly to a DJI transmitter, but it is available with other receivers as well. So there is the FrSky RXSR, the XM Plus, and the TBS Crossfire Nano RX if you are using Crossfire. Now, I've seen a lot online about this Protek line, but I think you have to be careful because there are two different models, and I think they are completely different quadcopters doing different things. So the Protek25 is 2.5 inches, that's what the 25 stands for, and the 35 is 3.5 inches. Now the Protek35 is competing directly with Iflight's previous Cinewhoop, the Cine B, and will apparently fly for a lot longer and has got more powerful motors. In fact, I think they're almost a 5-inch motor on that one. They are a 220 I think. And also that one has got a DJI Air unit if you're getting the HD version, so that's sort of like almost a 4-inch Cinewhoop quadcopter. And then the Protek25, well, it seems to be like a Cinewhoop that would carry a naked GoPro. In fact, we've even got a mount here that is like a GoPro mount, but it won't work with a GoPro mount. It is for Iflight's own GoPro Hero 8 Lite case. So if you don't have that, then you aren't going to be able to put a normal GoPro on here, and really it's just going to be sort of like, I don't know, a quadcopter where you're using the HD footage from the Vista, and that's it. In the box we have got these foam pads here, and I think those are to stick on around here. There's lots of stickers on this thing, loads of warnings, almost as if like a beginner would buy this, but I'm not sure I would recommend this to a beginner. This thing is going to be for getting smooth cinematic footage, and it looks like you're going to have to take it apart as well if you want to stick like a naked GoPro up there, because I can't see any wires coming out that you can connect to a naked GoPro. I have seen pictures of them having a full-size GoPro on here, but with a different mount. But you have to get that from Iflight's Facebook group and print it off yourself, or buy it separately from Iflight. I don't think it comes in this package here. And when they use the full-size GoPro, which I don't think I'd recommend a model of this size using a full-size GoPro, even with one of these, which is their adapter for a balance port for either 6S or 4S inputs, and then you've got a USB connector on here to plug in the side. You have to buy one of these separately. It does make it look like on Iflight's website that you get one of these in the package, but it doesn't look like you do. We have got a keyring. Now, do I want a keyring or do I want something useful? Anyways, we have got some cables here in the package. It looks like we have got USB-C and also the B type there as well. We've got loads of little JST connectors, but none of them are sort of like for a naked GoPro. Same again, really, lots of connector wires. Maybe there is like a output somewhere on it, but again, if you're using the Beta FPV naked GoPro, then that connector isn't in there. We've got some spare propellers, so these are the Nazgul 25 props, so it's Iflight's own props. And then we've got a bunch of stuff in here, so that is a battery mat there so that it doesn't slip. We got 2 of those, and we have got a battery strap, some screws, lots of spare screws. We have got here, this is the Dji Iflight Antenna. So it's going to be left-hand polarized, this one, with the HD stuff. And then we've got a nice 3D printed part for that to go on the end, so that's quite nice. We've got some antenna mounts for the FR Sky version as well, but I think what I would have liked to have seen with this package is more camera mounting options, because a lot of people who would want to buy this probably already have the Beta FPV case. Now I've got the Flywoo case, so it would have been nice just to have a mount for a naked GoPro in there. Otherwise you're going to have to print your own off or design your own, which is a little bit of a pain really. I mean, it looks a really nice quadcopter for doing sort of indoor shots and flying with a naked GoPro, but unless you have got Iflight's GoPro case, which you would have to use all of the time, and I like to use my naked GoPro on multiple different models, so that's why I have got different mounts for it. So, you know, I have to design something for this one separately. Let's see what else is in the box. Just a bunch of stickers, I think. Yeah, and also the diagram for the all-in-one flight controller. I'm going to remove all of these stickers. It does tell you the camera angle actually, so it'll go to 45 degrees. There. Oh, that came off well, didn't it? What does this one say on here? Just telling you how great their protectors are. Well, I tell you what isn't great is how these peel off here. Look at that. Okay, I could get some like sticky stuff remover on that. But yeah, I'm gonna take. You know, look at that. I don't know if this one's been sat in its box for a while, but these stickers, that's not good. Alright, so I've got the majority of the gunk off from the stickers. There's a little bit still there, but that's a small thing. A bigger problem with the 25, and it's not there with the 35, is that when people first bought this, they were reporting ESCs burning up, which, well, that's not great at all, is it? And it's because Iflight have used some custom RPM filters to get this thing, you know, flying nicely and smooth and with a long flight time, but it was overstressing the ESCs. So they have put an announcement up on their website, and you have to download a bunch of stuff, I think, and reflash it. I mean, that's not great for beginners, is it? And one thing I'm not liking either, as I'm just holding this, is I can see the USB port here. It is sticking out of the frame. We've got this little screw here to stop it getting knocked off, but yeah, I can see that getting knocked off in a heavy crash, you know. We've got these 3D printed parts here underneath, but I don't think that's going to be enough to stop it. Also, it's quite snowy here at the moment, and also damp, and landing on the USB port and it getting all wet, I'm not too sure about that. Looks like we have got the Iflight logo underneath with a LED underneath there and an LED on the back. I really do like these protectors here. I like how they have narrowed them down really just to cover the props, and they are really strong as well. These are proper molded and really strong. Yeah, they don't even flex at all, which, you know, you could say was a bad thing, but the way that they have done this here, this sort of hexagon shape, it's a very strong shape. There's a reason why beehives are hexagonal. It's because they are very strong. So we have got some standoffs here, and apparently they are copper standoffs. Don't know if that makes them any better, but what is good about this guy is that you can remove these protectors here completely, and you have got a 2.5 inch quadcopter. You can see all of this here. It'd be a strange frame, but you can have it as just a normal quadcopter without protectors as well. Unfortunately, you know, you will have to take these screws out, but it looks quite simple to do actually. Come on, some company has got to come up with a way where you can just clip them on and take them off. I'm yet to see that, but I think that would be a real winner. Okay, let's see how much this guy weighs. I've put the antenna on the back there, so that's without a battery, 197 grams. And then with the 850 milliamp AU line battery, which is what they recommend, that is 295 grams. That is a very heavy 2.5-inch model, and that is without a GoPro. So I think if you stuck a full-size GoPro on there, even without the battery, then it is going to be a real heavy quad. I think your only option is to have a light GoPro on there, and then of course, as I say, you have to get Dji Iflight's own GoPro 8 case. So let's take a look at some more of the specs. We have got the motors. They are the Zing 1404 motor, so that's a big motor for 2.5 inch, and it's 5,500 kV. So yeah, it's going to have a lot of power, actually, I think, for the size of model. And it would need it, wouldn't it, being that heavy, I suppose. But whether it's just going to sag your battery with all of that weight, I don't know. I've seen shots of them using it as sort of like a micro freestyle model or a racer rather than for catching cinematic footage. I think they're trying to do everything with this thing, and you know, sometimes you just can't do everything. Sometimes you just need a quad for one purpose and a quad for another purpose, but you know, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt if it doesn't catch fire before then. So I like how the camera is mounted up the front. It feels a bit loose there. Okay, so we've got an accessible screw down the side. Yeah, that's going to need tightening out of the box there. And we can access the USB port just through there. They have given the cable for that, but it still looks tight. And also, you're going to really have to reach for the bind button on the DJI Vista. Yeah, because that's through there. You can see a capacitor hanging out the back. So, you know, we've got some extra filtering there as well. So the stack, it's all in one. So it's a 20 amp BL Halley S ESCs with the RPM filtering, as I say, an F4 flight controller. One thing it does have, and you don't see this much anymore, is a physical beeper. And the carbon is T700 carbon, which is meant to be much stronger than, you know, your 3K carbon fiber, but that is really tough, this thing, you know. I think it's going to be quite difficult to break. But yeah, beginner friendly when the first thing you have to do is get it out of the box and flash a bunch of stuff to it. I don't think so. I think the camera mount is actually built into these protectors here. So they say that you can take the protectors off and have it as a normal quadcopter, but then they don't provide any extra camera mounting to put your camera back in. So yeah, you'd have to do that yourself. It's not so easy. And I think they also say you can have it as a pusher configuration as well, but it doesn't give that many details. I'm gonna fly it like this anyways. Okay, so they haven't made this as clear as I was hoping, so I'm just going to take you through it quickly. So we have got a link here, right-click, save as, that's the hex file, and you need to flash that using the BL Halley configurator. It's the BL Halley S configurator that looks a little bit like Betaflight and not the 32-bit version. You have to plug your battery into the quad and also a USB cable, and then you have to go flash all, manually select a file, and then select this hex file. They've given you another random link here, but this is actually just another link to the hex file if their one stops working. Then we need to come down here, and they've missed this part out, but they've actually got a new version here of their CLI. They've done a complete CLI dump. They're calling it a diff, but it's a complete dump. So you need to go on this Google Drive, and they've got a dump for Crossfire. They've got one for S-Bus, and 2 for HD and 2 for analog as well. So I've got the HD one. You download that, and then it's just a text file, so copy all and put it into the CLI. It's actually doing mine now. So if I then go back to the website. Now, what they are saying is, it's sort of a little bit backwards, but it says if you want to use their RPM filtering with their new tune, then don't do what they're saying here. Just put this into the CLI and save it. And if you don't want to use RPM filtering, then move these sliders to 1 and then put this into the CLI. So not straightforward. You know, I could sort of do it without a problem because I've messed around with that, but not something that I would say that a beginner should do. Alrighty, so let's just have a quick gander at Betaflight. So the quad has to sort of lie upside down so you can access that USB port. Not ideal, but there you go. So we have got no spare UART. So the UART 1 is for the Vista, and then UART 2 is for your controller. It is all in one board, so you can't add anything else to this. So configuration, and we have got props out configuration, so remember that if you break a prop. D-Shot 300 for the RPM filterings, and actually I did turn that on, but it looks like this new tune that they have put on has got that turned off. So okay, it's a little bit back to front how they explain everything there, but see if there's anything that needs changing here. We do have a board alignment on there. Maximum arm angle 180 is fine. And we are fine at 8K, 4K. We want accelerometer so that we can have angle mode. S-bus here for DJI is fine. We don't have any external RSSI on, so that's good. We've got dynamic filter, on-screen display, air mode, telemetry, and LED strip. Yeah, we need LED strip because it's got that. Not sure about telemetry. Now, this is interesting because it's got a physical buzzer, so we don't need these two. So, what are they playing here, iFlight? What are you up to? What are you up to? Okay, is it gonna connect? So, power and battery, I'm just gonna bring that down to 3.3. Pid tuning, so what profiles have we got here? Pid profile 2. Yeah, are all of them different? Yeah, it looks like all of them are different, but it's on Pid profile 2. The rate profile, yeah, 900 is okay, I guess. Yeah, I could go fine with that. Okay, let's try it. I always like to use my own rates, but there you go. So this is the filter settings here. It's at 1.1 and 1.2 there for the sliders. But yeah, this is interesting because there's no mention of changing PID profile. I'm just going to use the default one that's in there, and if we have some sort of problem, then we can try different PIDs. So the first PID profile, it seems like we have got lower PID values, and we've got slightly higher. Yeah, that's higher, and then very high. So yeah, maybe one without a GoPro, one in the middle, I don't know. Receiver, I'm going to need to change that. This is just for my weird mode 1 transmitter, so don't you do this. So it's ATER1234, and then save. I'd like to put a little bit of deadband in there actually, usually about 7, not 70, 7 to stop it from drifting. Let's see, modes. So we've just got angle mode in there, which I'm gonna have to bind my transmitter up, because I think the mode switch is actually auxiliary 4 on that one, and I think that's auxiliary 2. And then I think my beeper, I've not got a beeper in there, even though it's got a beeper. Come on, iFlight. So I want to add range there, and I do think that is aux 3. I might have to come back to this, just guessing. Been a while since I've flown, thanks to lockdown. On-screen display. Oh, we do have an on-screen display. Yeah, I'm going to leave that, so that should come up in my DJI goggles. It looks all higgledy-piggledy, so it's usually what you have to do with the DJI stuff. If there's anything I don't really want, I'm not that keen on warnings, because they flash up when you're flying, and, don't like that. So it's good when you're on the ground, and don't really need to know that it's disarmed as well. I'll just put those two on there just in case I forget which ones I have disabled. Yeah, I mean, I guess some people, you know, if you have a crash, you have a panic, and my arm disarmed, it's flashing out, tells you, but chances are you've already ruined it by that time. Always disarm as quickly as possible. So, has it got anything in there? Yeah, so nothing in the video transmitters. This is the HD CLI that I downloaded, and it does have some LEDs in there as well. So just a couple of things to change there. I wouldn't say ready to go out of the box, but hey, I'm picky. Alrighty, well, it's currently -4 here, so this might be a test of how long I can fly for before this. It's a noisy thing, and it hasn't even got a GoPro on it. So imagine how much noisier it's going to be with more weight at the front. It needs a light GoPro. Well, let's see what the power is like with that crazy KV. Yep, just a blip and you'll miss it. Oh, it's so loud. I mean, it's great to have more power and everything, but you know, if you're going for these small, inconspicuous cinewhoops, and then it sounds like a Formula 1 car on acid, then yeah, I'm not sure. I don't, you know, you'll have to let me know what you think, you know, about it being a beginner thing. I tell you, if I was a beginner and this thing was screaming at me, I'd be terrified of it. And after I've got through all of that stuff that you need to do so that it doesn't catch fire, none of this is saying beginner friendly to me. I don't know about you. I think what it is, right, I think it's a great idea that hasn't fully been executed. I think it'd be great for the light or naked GoPro, or even a SMO mount for it. I can see why they've gone for the high KV. They're trying to do everything right. So the problem with these cinewhoops is they don't have enough power and they stall out. You get yaw washouts, they do weird things, and it's simply because they don't have enough power to power out of the maneuvers. And then when you've got the extra drag of the protectors, that just, you know, adds to the problem. So with this one, they've just gone, oh, forget it, let's just give it crazy big, noisy motors, high RPM, then we can do freestyle with it. But a little bit antisocial. It's flying nice line of sight anyways. You can see that LED nicely on the back. Oh, except now I need new ears. It's quite the price to pay, isn't it, as well, for such a thing? The analog one much cheaper, but of course, you know, if you're wanting to use this like as a cinema style thing, then, you know, you're going to want to go for the HD edition, really. That's what a lot of people are doing anyways, you know, get that extra clarity. But you are not going to get the flight time with the full-size GoPro on this, especially the 9 now. But anyways, I think the battery has outflown what my hands can take in this temperature. Just flick it back into angle mode. There's no drift, so let's see what it's like. FPV. Alrighty, let's go for some FPV with this guy. Been a while since I've flown at this location, thanks to lockdown and COVID-19. What happened was, everybody was either staying at home or working from home and doing their exercise on this field, and it tripled the volume of people walking on here, and it still hasn't stopped. So I have got my spotter off to the side here, and you know, we'll look out for any walkers. It helps with the HD. But let's just see if we've got any jello. Tiny bit, tiny bit. So the sun is out here. And that's what I'm looking for, because it's mounted in the, yeah, there's a bit of jello there, a little bit, but you know, absolutely screaming with these motors, so I think it'd be difficult not to have that, really. But you know, if you're just hovering around, that's fine. Oh, the ducts, protectors, not ducts, they are sort of acting as a wing in this wind, so getting bobbing up and down. Let's see what the tuner's like. Oh, big wobble. It's got the power to pull out of it, but I wouldn't say it was the best tune I've ever seen, especially on a Cinewoop actually. Yeah, it does feel a little bit heavy actually without a GoPro, so yeah, I mean, it's flying around fine. I'm not seeing any yaw washout. I mean, you've got so much power to blast out of it. I'm trying to trick it out basically, and all it's giving me is little wobbles. Look at the ice around here. Do not fly around this. Yeah, there's a little 3D printed USB protector on Thingiverse. If you've got this, get it, otherwise you're going to get water in your USB port. Yeah, went down to 12 volts there, but you know, just looking at the time, 2.5 minute flight time, we're at 14.7 volts. It's a little cold, so not best for the battery, although the battery was charged indoors and has been kept warm. So this is just an older battery. This is a GMB battery, this one, so it's not going to perform quite as good. Quite like the rates that they've put on this actually. But yeah, what do you think? I mean, what is this quad? Is it a beginner quad? I mean, I found it okay to go and flash all of the firmware so that the thing doesn't explode. But if you don't know about that, because there's no letter that says, oh, by the way, if you don't do this, then, you know, it's going to catch fire. You might find Joshua Bardwell's video, but other than that, they are shipping these out as they were built with the problem, and then you have to fix the problem. I mean, it's nice that, you know, obviously that they did find the problem. I mean, not having any ESC issues here, although it is -4. I like how we've got no props in shot, but it really needs a GoPro up there. It needs a GoPro light. I know I keep saying it, and it needs better mounting solution. Or if you're interested in this, then, you know, you're gonna have to go all in and get Iflight's own GoPro 8 case and use it with that. Or if you've got a decent 3D printer, make your own. But, you know, you want, from an all-in-one thing, you want it to be able to plug it in. You know, you have to take it apart, for example, to put your cables in, solder your cable in for your GoPro. And as soon as it's a model really, you know, for that sort of thing, you'd want that to be there in the first place. But yeah, we're at 14 volts there, and 4.5 minutes, I'd say, with a decent battery that's not broken like this one, you're looking at 5 minutes for sure. Oh, I've just hit the scene button on my transmitter, but oh yeah, 13.9 volts. I need to bring it in for a landing. So I'll put a link in the video description if you wish to get one, as well as a pinned comment. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.